Salutations, people of the internet. Welcome to the database. Now, first of all, before getting to the topic of this video, let me quickly explain to you guys what the database network offers. This channel is called the database network because every episode that I put on this channel is connected to other videos one way or another. What I like doing is when it comes to expressing my passion for entertainment media is to build a personal connection with two different properties that on the surface don't supposed to be connected. That's the fun part. An example of this is how in the last episode I compared the slow pacing of Call Me Can Communicate to Better Call Saul, two shows of entirely different genres and medium, yet it's the personal connection that makes these two shows mean so much to me. With that being said, how the hell is Tetris connected to anything? Easy. Nintendo. I've talked about these series of Nintendo games already on this channel, Kirby and Super Mario being my top two favorite Nintendo exclusive series of all time, and Tetris got its fame and popularity thanks to Nintendo. On April 21st, 1989, Nintendo released their second handheld, the Nintendo Game Boy. I don't own a Game Boy or a copy of that Tetris, but I do have a set of Game & Watches that I can show off here. See, before the Nintendo Game Boy, the first handheld Nintendo ever made was the Game & Watch. The Game & Watch was developed by Gunpei Yokoi. He got the idea of the Game & Watch while traveling through a bullet train after seeing a businessman playing around with his LCD calculator. Thus gave Gunpei Yokoi the idea of creating handhelds that serve as perfect time killers that are also compact in pocket size. Gunpei Yokoi would be the one to create the Game Boy, that would later spawn several revisions and upgrades to the Game Boy lineup of handhelds. From the Game Boy Pocket that is smaller than the original, the Game Boy Light that gives a handheld a backlit screen, followed by what is considered by many as the successor to the original Game Boy, the Game Boy Color, and the Game Boy Advance. Now that we got the background information out of the way, let's finally get into probably the simplest game to analyze. This is Tetris on the Game Boy. Tetris is an arcade-like puzzle game made by Alexei, I'm not gonna pronounce his last name, a Russian computer engineer and video game designer. He created the concept of Tetris 5 years before the Nintendo Game Boy's launch in the year 1984. Tetris comprises of 5 different shapes of four squared blocks that are called tetraminos. In many other platforms that have Tetris, each tetramino piece is given a specific set of colors that are all uniform in all official Tetris games. No matter what version you play, these pieces never change. They are easy to recognize, enough for the players to understand which piece goes where. In basic classic Tetris, your goal is to line up all the tetramino pieces to fit a line or a row. With skill, you can score more points by clearing more lines as a combo, or clearing more than one row of lines at once. When you clear 4 lines at once, that's called a Tetris. You continue doing this until all blocks reach to the top, and that's a game over. The game is easy to pick up, but hard to master. After a game over, that's where you get to see your highest score, and even record it. Easy review. Of course, when booting up the game, you're gifted a ton of options to play around, but let's be real here. When it comes to a game like Tetris, we usually just head straight to the game and not care about all the other options. Plus the default music for this game is the iconic Type A, so why give us these other music options as well? I probably can't play the other 2 music pieces because of copyright, so enjoy this long ass loop of Type A for the entire video. If you couldn't tell from majority of the video, the footage of the Game Boy Tetris that you see here is from the recently new added Nintendo Switch Online Game Boy emulator, exclusively for those who sign up for the Switch Online service. In this emulator, you can change the visuals of the Game Boy game, whether if you like the vomit green colors that is just like playing the actual Game Boy, monochrome colors of the Game Boy Pocket that resembles similar to your typical GBA emulator, or one with a color palette from the Game Boy Color. This is the same color palette that you will see in your Super Game Boy that you attach on the Super Nintendo. If I were to discuss the countless versions of Tetris across multiple playable platforms from home console to handhelds, we'll be here all day. So I'll show off some of the games that I have here. First off, there's Tetris 99 on the Nintendo Switch. This version of Tetris is a play on the Battle Royale genre that has been becoming very popular thanks to Fortnite. Here you face 98 other players online playing Tetris. You use the right analog stick to adjust your target when you pick who you send your garbage Tetris towards. This is also one of many modern Tetris games that has the quick drop feature, mostly used to speedrun your way to a Tetris attack. One thing that I like about Tetris 99 is the customization options, mainly its change in background. They are there to either promote upcoming Nintendo Switch games or use an aesthetic change like the one that resembles a Game Boy Classic. Though if a Battle Royale Tetris on the Switch isn't your thing, there is also this unofficial third-party Tetris online on PC. I'll provide a link to the website down below. This is just a modern way to play Tetris on PC. A lot of modern Tetris games offer new game modes that tries to keep the Tetris formula unique. More often, you would see Marathon mode, where you clear as much Tetris lines to reach a certain max level, while Endless is the opposite, as you simply aim for a higher score. For Tetris 99, they are both locked behind paid DLC, which I never get, as other versions of Tetris get this out of the package. But I guess, for Nintendo,
we've got to have money.
And finally, I know I mentioned this before in a couple of my past videos, 3D Tetris. This game was released on the Virtual Boy, Nintendo's first failed attempt in non-glasses 3D. God, look at this. It's a dizzy mess. Let's end the video right here. I'm starting to get a headache. So that was my quick look into Tetris on the Game Boy. Quick and short video, mostly because I'm in the middle of another semester in university. Gotta keep this channel relevant somehow. Plus I wanted to capture footage taken to the new Game Boy servers Nintendo provided on the Switch. With the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance libraries now available on the Switch, this now opens up more opportunities for me to capture footage for those games. Last time I did a game review on the Game Boy library, it was Kirby's Dreamland last year. That video serves as a way for me to transition into talking about the new 3D Kirby game at the time by talking about Kirby's first game. And while GBA games are locked behind a very expensive expansion pack, I guess I can use the MGBA emulator for now. Pray that OBS's recording system functions. My grade for Tetris on the Game Boy is a solid A. What prevents this version of Tetris from being an A+ is how outdated the game looks, visually and aesthetically. Plus, I'm one of those Tetris players who are so used to the quick drop mechanic. Playing older Tetris titles that don't have this feature is just jarring. It's a great game with a simple premise, simple gameplay, and controls. And it's the perfect puzzle game to kill some time with on your next train ride. Gunpei did all this from a calculator. So what do you guys think of Tetris? How do you like these quick reviews on smaller video games? Would you like me to continue doing smaller videos, or would you like me to see me do more longer videos? Let me know in the comments down below. Thumbs up the video if you like it, subscribe to the database, and follow me on social media as seen above. This is Christopher James signing off, and I'll see you next time.